you do the last line in German?
Aber du Einsau?
Almost. I mean, that was actually pretty good. Du stinkst so wie Scheiße. You smell like. These sentences make zero sense though. He is kind of pulling out this over-exaggerated German accent. Ich liebe dich. He almost sounded like he had a German dialect. Do you guys see Jennifer Lawrence's mouth just become bigger and bigger? I mean, I don't know if he practiced by watching Hitler speeches, but you shouldn't necessarily practice with that. Hello, servus, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Felicia. I'm originally from Munich, Germany, but I've been living here in Cincinnati, Ohio for about 5 years now. About a year ago, I published a video where I reacted to American celebrities speaking German, and you guys really liked that one. If you haven't seen it yet, you can either click up here or find the link in the info box below as always. And as I said, it's been a year, so I thought it's time to do a part 2 to that video because there are countless more cool clips of celebrities speaking or reading German. So I figured let's watch them together and I can let you know how good their German really is. So as always, when I do these reaction videos, I'm gonna watch it down here on my laptop. And I'm gonna put a little clip for you guys down here in this corner. And let's start. The first ones are Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. And this is from 2020 when they were promoting their movie Bad Boys for Life. And I think, I'm gonna stop right away. I think what it is that the media outlet interviewing them provided phrases for them that Germans would say while driving when they have road rage. So let's see.
Putte.
Komm in die Putte.
You asshole.
Okay, so
Close.
Will Smith said it and Martin Lawrence is guessing what it means.
That's close. Get your ass up.
Oh, okay.
Get your ass up.
Better.
So yeah, komm in die Putte. Just come on, let's get started.
Dear Peep Store. You'll never guess it.
No, shut your dumb ass up. That's what you think?
Basically.
Basically,
You are
not
crazy.
quite.
You are crazy. You know
Yeah,
German?
but hier piept's wohl literally means, I think it's beeping inside your head, basically.
Words are very different from English.
Yes.
Gruner word is nicht.
Don't with me.
It won't get any greener. Oh, that's the lie you say. Hey, it won't get any greener. Gruner word is nicht.
Took him a second
Gruner
to.
word is nicht. It won't get any greener.
Took him a second to understand that.
I know.
Yeah, grüner wird es nicht. Actually, like, I mean, both of their pronunciations aren't perfect. You can tell that. I don't think they speak any German really. Maybe they've had like a class back in the day or something, but it doesn't sound like they are familiar with the language a lot. But you can still understand it. So actually, decent job.
That's a tough.
Ooh, fart. There's fart in a word.
Fart, fährt.
The fart I mean on my schneller. The fart I mean
Close.
on my schneller. The fart I mean on my schneller.
Close.
Get away from me.
You guys probably know this if you watch my videos regularly. The EI diphthong is pronounced I in German and not I or E, it's I. So meine Oma. But of course he wouldn't know that.
Yeah, you're bugging me.
Nah. That's my grandmother driving faster.
That's what it is.
Yeah, my grandmother can drive faster than that,
It's
basically.
from the movie.
From the. Oh, did we say that
From
in the movie?
Remember we said my grandmother?
Go, could
Apparently
drive
they
faster
do.
than- Oh, okay. Somebody might have did some good research.
Yes.
The fart I mean
Have you guys seen the movie? Let me know if they actually do say it in the movie, but I'm assuming that they would probably know since they were in the movie.
Oma Schmeller.
Oma is grandma.
Oh, I love my Oma Schmeller.
That's right. That's right.
I think he thinks that Oma schneller, or I think he says Schmeller with an M, but it's with an N. I think he thinks that schneller is the name, maybe? But schneller means faster, so da fährt ja meine Oma schneller. My grandma drives faster than that.
I love my own mind.
Okay, that was the first thing. Now, next up, we got Rosamund Pike, and this is from when she was promoting a movie in 2018, 7 Days in Entebbe, and she was starring in that with the German actor Daniel Brühl. And the movie tells a real-life story from the 70s of a counter-terrorist operation. And even though the movie is a British and American production, there is some German in the movie as well, and she actually has to speak German. From what I understand, again, I haven't seen the movie, but from what I understand, she is portraying a native German in the movie, even though she doesn't actually speak German.
How hard was it learning German and speaking it in the movie?
Well, it was, I just put my sort of heart and soul into it, really, trying to,
I love her
trying
accent.
to learn it as I might try and do an American accent or something. I mean,
Quick stop, I always find it so impressive when British actors or Australian actors, I feel like it's more that way than the other way around, but I'm sure it also exists with American actors, take on a different English-speaking accent. So like, for example, in 13 Reasons Why, this is like the first one that comes to mind, big Netflix show from a few years ago where the main actress is, what's her name, Catherine something with an L. I'm gonna put it down here, I'm sorry. She's from Australia and she plays an American girl though, and her accent is spot on. Or all the way throughout the show Gossip Girl, which I think has like 7, 8 seasons, something like that. The character of Chuck Bass is also portrayed by a British person, and his American accent also, like, he never slips. He just sounds so good. And there's so many other British actors and actresses who constantly play in Hollywood movies with an American accent. I always find that so impressive. I mean, I don't know if I could do that as a German. I know that there's also German actors who, for example, play a full movie in a dialect, and sometimes they didn't even grow up with the dialect. I mean, that's what they're actors. They're good at that stuff. They're good at imitating things. But I just think that that's extremely impressive because, I mean, you already have to focus on your lines and the emotions and everything that's going on in the scene, and then you also have to kind of focus on how you pronounce certain things. Anyways, back to Rosamund Pike.
you know, I can never fully understand whether it's 100% successful. I just had to do my best, and thank goodness for Daniel, who was very, very open to the idea of it, of me even trying. I mean, it seemed like a crazy thing. I didn't speak the language, and then trying to eliminate an accent as well, it was very hard.
Yeah.
So thank you. If it was even partially successul, that's very good.
Perfect.
That's very good.
Perfect. In most of the scenes, it's perfect. So,
Okay.
do you remember some lines in German?
Not many. Some of them.
The interviewer sounds so German. Like, nothing against that, but he just sounds really German. That's kind of funny.
Du warst nie ein besonders guter Buchhändler, Boni. I remember that one. And I remember...
You've never been a really good, oh gosh, what's Buchhändler? Bookseller?
Ruh dich aus, which, when he's going to sleep, schlaf ein bisschen. Bleib ruhig.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ruh dich aus. Her accent is perfect. I mean, just like the interviewer said, but he was right. What did you say? Ruh dich aus, rest a little bit, schlaf ein bisschen, sleep a little, bleib ruhig, stay calm. So yeah, really, really good. Like, she does sound like a native speaker.
But are you able maybe to understand now what some people say? Maybe you
Yeah,
read?
I do understand quite a bit. I mean, it made sense to me. It's a language I would like to learn properly.
Well, I think it's safe to say that the German audience would definitely love for her to speak some German. She seems to be extremely talented. I mean, her pronunciation in this interview alone was spot on. She can totally pass as a native speaker with that, I would say. And as she said, this was like a year and a half after she even filmed the movie, so it was probably even better back then. Accents are a really interesting topic, by the way. Josh and I, who I host the Understanding Train Station podcast with, just talked about it in our last private hangout session with our Patreon supporters in regards to one of our most recent guests that we had on the podcast, who has been living in the US for almost 30 years now, and she speaks great English, but she still has maintained a pretty strong German accent, and some people left some negative / judgy comments about that. And what I always find interesting about this topic is that people often connect accents directly to how fluent a person is in the language, while I personally think that those two things aren't always connected necessarily. Like, I think that someone can be completely fluent in a language regarding grammar and vocab and still have a strong accent from their native language when it comes to pronunciation and intonation. Or, like it seemed to have been the case with Rosamund Pike, some people are just really good at pronunciation and can read words in a language perfectly, sounding like a native speaker, even though they don't know what these words mean and they wouldn't be able to freely speak the language. So accents can really trick your audience in one way or the other, thinking that you can speak a language even though you can, or that you can speak a language even though you cannot, if that made sense. I mean, the topic of accents also frequently plays a role here on this channel. I always get a lot of questions in the comments and also in my DMs on Instagram, for example, as to how I learned English and why I don't have a super strong German accent. There's also some people who comment that I have a very noticeable German accent, and I'm sure there's some truth to all of that. But my answer to the question of how I got rid of my accent is that I can't really tell you, because I personally didn't actively try to lose it. Like, I didn't sit down and practice it. I think I just somehow naturally adapted to the pronunciation here, but that's something that doesn't work for everyone. So if you guys want to improve your pronunciation and intonation in English, my best tip is to listen to yourself speaking the target language, then listen to native speakers, and then try to imitate what they do. And I would recommend using the app ELSA Speak for that, which is also today's sponsor. For those of you who've never heard of ELSA, it's a unique English app that pinpoints your mistakes in English pronunciation and speaking using the latest AI technology, so artificial intelligence. First, you can take an assessment test for free where you'll be scored on your pronunciation, your fluency, and intonation compared to a native speaker. This was my score when I took it, and then you'll get precise feedback instantly to every single word and sound that might need some improvement. Okay, let's try this together on my phone. Whether you speak English natively or as a second language, how would you pronounce this question, this phrase? Okay, so here's how they say it.
There aren't any flights available.
Now let's see what it says when I say it with a pretty strong German accent. There aren't any flights available. Okay, so I got a 68% score and it shows me what I did wrong. And now I'm just gonna say it normally, like I usually speak. There aren't any flights available. Okay, 79%. You sound like a native speaker. Now, while you do all this, you'll also increase your communication skills because you'll learn vocabulary and phrases as well, which I find super helpful because I remember how intimidating everyday situations were to me when I first came to the US. Like, what are you supposed to say at the checkout of a store? How do the locals do that? How do you ask for the bill at a restaurant? Or how do you pronounce words that you've only ever seen written but never said out loud? I remember that during my first couple of months here, I was at a restaurant and wanted to order something with this ingredient in it. But I didn't remember how it's pronounced, so I think I said something like spinach? So yeah, it was pretty awkward because it's pronounced spinach. And while this is just a part of living abroad, even after 5 years, you can avoid situations like these if you practice with ELSA Speak in advance, because you can practice whole conversations on topics like job interviews, office conversations, or casual events like going to the movies. On top of that, it also comes with a built-in dictionary for when you need to look up a word real quick, and a community that you can ask for help. So it's a super handy app to have on your phone at any time as a non-native English speaker, because it corrects your pronunciation mistakes accurately, and it also allows you to practice in the comfort of your home with no embarrassment or peer pressure. To check it out yourself, just click on the link in the info box below, download ELSA Speak for free and get a 7-day trial. And you can also redeem an exclusive offer where you'll get an 80% discount on a lifetime membership or 30% on a 1-year membership. And next up is Daniel Radcliffe, and this is from when he was promoting a horror movie he was in 2012 called The Woman in Black. And in German it's called Die Frau in Schwarz.
Did someone teach you some German?
Not really.
The music.
No, I don't. Die Frau in Schwarz. Die Frau in Schwarz?
Ja. Ab 29.
Ab 29th.
29.
29.
März
März
2012. 2012.
2012.
12.
There you go, now I speak German.
Almost. I mean, that was actually pretty good. For some reason, when he said Die Frau in Schwarz, he almost sounded like he had a German dialect, like a Bavarian one or like a Southern one. I don't know why, but that sounded really cute. And then when he said 29, which is 29th or 29, I think he left out the Z letter and he said 29, and it sounded really cute. Okay, next up is Coolio, who is an American rapper. You might know his song Gangster's Paradise.
My name is Coolio, you know what I'm saying? Uppercut in the house, you know how we living? Yeah, my name is Coolio, was willst du?
Okay. Looks like he's looking for trouble. I don't know how old this is. This is probably pretty old. But, I mean, all he said was, my Name ist Coolio. So my name is Coolio. And then, was willst du? What do you want? Wasn't too bad, actually. Wasn't too bad. Okay, next up, Chris Pratt, who was also in the last video. And if you've seen that one, you know that he actually does speak German pretty well. And I found 2 interesting clips where he also speaks German. The first one is from when he promoted the movie Passenger with Jennifer Lawrence in 2016. And they're being interviewed by the German newspaper Bild, which is a tabloid.
Stellen, guten Tag.
Guten Tag.
Hi, how are you guys?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Very well, thanks.
Chris, I have this is my only personal question I have to you. Did you understand anything that I just said? Because I heard you have some German skills.
Yes.
Okay, she just said like a long introduction. I cut that out because, you know, you guys, most of you probably wouldn't even understand that anyways. But he was sitting there for her, because I think this was a Facebook live stream or something like that. And he was sitting there while she made the introduction towards the camera, towards the audience. And apparently he understood a lot.
You said 15 Minuten Fragen von Leute.
I'll put subtitles.
Unser Film kommt on the 5. Januar und du heißt Aslam.
Do you guys see Jennifer Lawrence's mouth just become bigger and bigger?
Das ist Bild?
Richtig.
Richtig?
Impressive.
Thank you.
That's
Very
amazing.
impressive.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's doing.
This is called another language. German, Deutsch. Yeah. Yeah, so I understood some of it. I'm trying. It's something that's really fun to do because I do speak a little bit of German, but every time I come to Germany and I want to practice German, I feel like I run into Germans who speak English and they want to practice English, and oftentimes their English is so much better than my German. So it's rare that I ever find an opportunity to actually speak German. So I always look forward to these press tours to just try it out a little bit.
So we just had an opportunity.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we watch the next interview with him, I think I said this last time, but his German pronunciation is really good. He does like have an accent, but it's very understandable, and it sounds like kind of cute the way that he pronounces words. And what he said about coming to Germany and not being able to speak German with the Germans, with the locals, that's actually a very common problem that English native speakers or just tourists have in general who come to Germany and who do know some German and who would like to practice their German or at least see if they would get by with it. Because especially in the big cities, basically everyone in Germany knows some basic English, and a lot of younger people speak pretty good English. And then as soon as Germans, this is just, I don't know, this is like a German thing that a lot of Germans do, as soon as they hear that you have an accent or that you struggle a little bit with certain words, they automatically switch to English without even asking you, which I think some people interpret as almost being rude, because like, they think, wait, was my German not good enough? Like, I was really trying. But Germans don't even mean it in a rude way. They're more like, here, let me help you. Like, let me make it easier. And so they just switch to English. Because usually the Germans' English is better than the other person's German. So if you ever go to Germany to practice German, be prepared for that. The next one is an interview where he was with Conan O'Brien.
Germany, and you speak, how much German do you speak?
I do okay. I know, you want to hear a joke in German?
You know a joke in German?
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
You won't get it.
All right, let's share this joke in German. I'm curious, okay?
Okay, so Dieter und sein Opa Peter sitzen am Berg. Und Opa Peter sagt, Dieter, siehst du alle diese Häuser? Ich habe alle diese Häuser mit meinen Haaren gebaut. Und Aber jetzt heiße ich Pizza die Hausbau. Nein. Und siehst du die Kirche? Ich habe die Kirche mit meinen Haaren gebaut. Heißt jetzt die Pizza die Kirchebauer? Nein. Und der Mauer. Ich habe die Großmauer mit meinen Haaren gebaut. Heißt jetzt Peter die Mauerbauer? Nein. Aber du Einsau.
Okay, so it's a dirty joke that I've never heard before, so I don't think it's like a super popular German joke. What I find funny though is that his German is much worse here, and I know that he can speak German a lot better than this, but I think just for the purpose of being entertaining and being funny, he's kind of pulling out this over-exaggerated German accent that at least Americans like to do. I actually made a whole video about how to do a real German accent. I'm gonna link that up here and down below. But this is just something that a lot of Americans do, that when they try to imitate a German, their voice goes up a lot and they speak, I don't even know what they're trying to sound like, but they're like, yeah, and their voice goes, I can't even do that, honestly. That was really bad. I apologize for that, but they just go up with their voice so much. I'm sure you guys hear and know what I mean, but we don't do that in German. And then he just like butchered a bunch of the words. Like, it was actually hard to follow this joke. I think he just didn't care. He just wanted to like make it sound funny more than he cared about actually getting the German words right. But yeah, so let's see what he says about the joke.
Great.
Yeah.
That worked great. Can we know what the joke is in
Funniest
English?
thing is that they're all laughing even though they didn't understand the joke.
It has the F word in it. Is that okay?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
So Dieter and his grandfather, Peter, are sitting on a mountainside, and Peter says, look down there. You see all those houses? I built those houses with my bare hand. But do they call me Peter the house builder? No. And you see the church? I built that church with my bare hands. Do they call me Peter the house builder? No. And the wall, I worked on that wall. I built it stone by stone with my bare hands. Do they call me Peter the wall builder? No. But you one pig.
Can I just say, I love that when you say it in when you said it in German and you said to the last line, you gave it a little bit of Germany. How did you do it? How did you do it? The
That's
last
what I
line
meant.
in German.
Aber du Einsau.
Yeah, I don't know why like Americans or other English speakers think that that's a German accent, because to me as a German, it's not. And I'm not offended by it, it's just not how we sound. Anyways, Chris Pratt doesn't actually have German parents or anything like that. I think he just said in one interview that he learned German at school, which props to his German teacher because they did a good job. Next up, we have George Harrison, the lead guitarist of the Beatles. I don't know which year this is from, but at some point when they were pretty big already. Let's hear it.
Hier spricht George Harrison. Wir Beatles haben uns alle sehr gefreut, dass ihr uns zur beliebtesten Beatgruppe gewählt habt.
He's definitely reading this, but his pronunciation is not bad.
Wir haben so viele schöne Erinnerungen an good old Germany. John, Paul und Ringo haben mich gebeten, euch in ihren Namen zu sagen. Thank you very, very much. Von ganzem Herzen, Dankeschön.
Dankeschön. I don't think that George Harrison actually spoke German. For that, it was not really good enough, but I'm sure that they picked something up here and there. They probably knew some words, maybe some phrases, and probably the pronunciation he knew from their time when they played in Hamburg, which was in the beginning of the 60s, so like 1960 through 1962. During that period, they played a lot in this one club in Hamburg, which was before they actually blew up, before their big breakthrough. So yeah, I'm sure that that's where he still had the German skills from. And then I also found a recording by the Beatles. They actually recorded 2 songs in German. I don't think they translated it themselves, but they sang it themselves. They recorded this in 1964, and the 2 songs were She Loves You, which in the German translation is called Sie liebt dich, and Komm, Give Me Your Hand, which in German is Komm, Gib mir deine Hand. And this one is the German version of She Loves You. Well, just a little snippet.
Du glaubst, sie liebt nur mich. Gestern hab ich sie gesehen. Sie denkt ja nur an dich. Und du solltest zu ihr gehen. Sie liebt mich.
That was actually pretty good. The only two words where you could really hear it were when he said gayen, and what was the other one? Zayn or something like that, something that rhymed with that. Gehen means to go, and they just pronounce it very English, like gayen, instead of gehen or gehen. And now we're going back to the US to Mark Wahlberg, where he was promoting the movie Transformers Age of Extinction, which is called Ära des Untergangs, Transformers Ära des Untergangs in German, and this was in 2014, I believe.
You have German lessons, which we told you the German the last time. Maybe you can do it again. Do you learn a little bit more?
I think this is the same interviewer that we heard earlier in a different interview.
You know what, I haven't since then, but you know what, if I'm here long enough, I start picking it up, but only the bad words. Except for, you know, wie heißt du?
Wie heißt du?
Ich liebe dich.
Oh, two very important ones. Wie heißt du? What's your name? And ich liebe dich. You guys might know that one. I love you.
Du stinkst wie Scheiße. You know.
Interesting. Du stinkst so wie Scheiße. You smell like shit.
That's the basics. Guten Morgen, guten Tag.
Do you have a favorite
Morgen, good
curse
morning,
word?
guten Tag.
Yeah,
good day.
Scheiße.
Favorite
How do you say
curse
fuck?
Ficken.
Ficken. Ficken Scheiße. I got that one now.
And also greatest du alte Kackbratze. This is what I taught in Berlin.
Alte Kackbratze?
Du alte Kackbratze.
Du alte
This is
Kackbratze?
a bird who's sitting on a tree and
Shits on you?
shits on you. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
The whole day.
Alte Kackbratze?
Du alte Kackbratze.
Du alte Kackbratze. How's my accent?
It's great.
Nice.
It's great. It sounds like you were never away
Nice.
from Germany.
Well, there we go.
Okay, so they did the F word, and then Scheiße obviously means shit. I think most of you guys probably know this. And then the last thing that he taught him, du alte Kackbratze, that's an interesting one. I've definitely heard that before. I don't know what he meant about the bird, if that's something that you say to a bird who shits on you, because that's not the name of a bird, not that I know of at least. I think Kackbratze is a curse word that was mainly formed by a German comedian, and Kack is like the short form of to shit. So kacken would be a colloquial word for to shit. And then Bratze is like an old-fashioned word for a paw, like of like a big animal, like a bear, for example, like their front paws can be Bratzen. So yeah, I guess like shit paw? I don't know. It's definitely a fun thing to say. Next up, Johnny Depp, which was also in the last video.
Mein Vater ist ein Stierkämpfer.
Mein Vater ist ein Stierkämpfer.
Ich bin ein Wassermelone. Ich bin voll mit Wanzenbissen.
Okay, so he actually said those same sentences in the last clip. The reason why I put this one in this time is because there's one addition, one new sentence. So the first two are, mein Vater ist ein Stierkämpfer, which his accent is really good. I don't think he actually speaks German though, or at least maybe he just pretends that he doesn't speak German, but his pronunciation is really good. These sentences make zero sense though, but he does this on purpose, because I think every interview I've found of him where he speaks German, where it's supposed to speak some German, these are the sentences he says. Mein Vater ist ein Stierkämpfer means my father is a bullfighter. Then he said, ich bin eine Wassermelone. I'm a watermelon. And then the last one, now I have to go back because I forget what exactly he said.
Ich bin voll mit Wanzenbissen.
Okay, ich bin voll mit Wanzenbissen. I'm full of bug bites. Okay, next up we have Trevor Noah, who actually, I believe that some of you guys put that in the comments on the last video that I should check his German out too. You guys probably know him. He's a South African comedian and has been hosting the late night show, The Daily Show, since 2015. And this was actually on the show.
No, I tried to start learning German because my dad is Swiss German, right?
I think his dad is of Swiss German descent. I don't think he's fully Swiss German, but I'm not quite sure.
And so I was like, I want to learn his language because I never learned it growing up. And then they were like, why don't you learn Swiss? And then I heard Swiss and I was like, no.
Don't blame you.
I'll rather learn German.
For those of you who've never heard Swiss German, I don't know if it's classified as its own language, but the spectrum between a language or a dialect of a language is kind of fluid anyways. it's like a very, very strong dialect of German, and there's also very different dialects within Switzerland, so not every Swiss German dialect is the same. I know that they don't have any established spelling rules. I think when they spell things, when they write things, they just write in standard German, but then when they text with people, for example, then they'll write the way that they actually speak, which is very different, and they just like write down the words as they sound. So like everyone might write the same word differently. Anyways, back to him.
German. And so I learned German because I thought it would bring us closer together, right? Because I lost contact.
Oh, I totally lost my point. I was gonna say, before I talked about the spelling rules, that if you've ever heard Swiss German, it actually does sound even harsher than actual German. So if you already think that German sounds harsh, Swiss German is like next level because they have a lot of in there. So that's why.
With my dad for like 10 years. And so then when I met him again, I was like, I want to learn German and impress him and whatever. And I met him, and then like I started speaking to him in German, and he was like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm speaking German. He's like, no, it's better if you speak English. This is, he's like, it's better if you don't speak German at all. It's fine. But then now I could speak a bit of German, so I was excited to go to Germany and stuff and practice it. And, you know, I had a lot of fun until I found out that the way I spoke German sounded a little bit like Hitler.
Not good.
Yeah, which no one told me on this side of the world because we don't know how he really spoke.
I mean, I don't know if you practice by watching Hitler speeches, which I know a lot of Americans and non-Germans mainly know German from historical footage like that, like Hitler speeches, but you shouldn't necessarily practice with that.
Spoke or anything, but I would be in Germany, and apparently the way I would hit certain inflections would freak people out. And it's like, think of it like Barack Obama's voice. Like if someone learned English in America and they got here and they were like, I just want to have a... You'd be like, hey, you're doing the Barack Obama thing. And they'd be like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? So I would do that. Like I'd go in places and then I'd like order food. And like someone would be there and they'd be like, Guten Tag, was will die haben? And then I'll be like, ich will ein klein Brötchen haben. Bitte schön.
I want a little bread roll, please.
Schinken. And the people would, like, people would look at me. And then when we left, my friend was like, I was like, why would they look? Did I say it weird, like wrong words? She's like, no, you sound a little bit like Hitler, yeah?
He does the German accent thing too. They all do it. I don't understand why.
And she was like, and the people are really frightened about that, and you know? And I was like, so I spoiled their day? And she was like, yeah, you did, you know? And I was like, well, that brings me a lot of Schadenfreude.
For those of you who don't know what Schadenfreude means, it's a unique German word that doesn't have a translation in English, and I think it doesn't have a translation in most other languages either. It literally means damaged joy or like misfortune joy. So like when you're happy about someone else's misfortune, or when, you know, someone gets hurt, or something bad happens to another person and maybe you don't like them anyways, or they were mean to you before, and then you feel Schadenfreude because you're kind of happy that something bad happened to them. Not necessarily the best feeling to have, I think, morally, but you know what? Germans are just very real with their words, and so we have a word for that feeling, because, I mean, admittedly, most people have felt that before. If you want to learn about some more genius German words that I think are missing in English, I actually made a whole video about that, so again, you can just click up here or find the link down below. Okay, and now just a few short clips back to back from different people, and we're going to start with Leonardo DiCaprio. He was actually in the last video as well. So if you've seen that, you know that he actually grew up with German because his mom's side of the family is from Germany, and he always tells a lot of story about his German grandma. So yeah, this is a clip that we didn't see last time though.
Pommes frites and mayonnaise. So kann ich mehr. So nein. German, wie geht's? Alles gut.
Yeah, so his pronunciation is pretty good, and he said pommes frites with mayonnaise or mit mayonnaise, which pommes frites or pommes frites is how we say French fries in German, which is technically a French word, but we don't always pronounce it French. We will say pommes frites or pommes frites, which the S already isn't French anymore. And then when we abbreviate it, then we say pommes, which is totally not French anymore. Anyways.
Ich war in Deutschland geboren und ich hatte, what's the word?
Ach, bin ich aufgeregt. Ich kann eigentlich ganz gut Deutsch, wenn ich ruhig bin, aber jetzt bin ich zu nervös.
Okay, so this was from a German TV show and they dubbed when he switched back to English, but he said that he was actually born in Germany, which is true. His mom was German and his dad was an American soldier, but he actually left Germany at the age of 2. What he said, like the 3 words that he did say sounded pretty good, but then he said that he got all nervous and forgot the next word. So, yeah, Nelly Furtado.
Morgens esse ich am liebsten is Roe-Eier. I love Roe-Eier.
That sounds so funny. Roe-Eier, which sounds like a funny mix of like Swiss and French, maybe? It means scrambled eggs. Hugh Jackman?
Der Vogel sitzen in das Bauen und singen, ja.
Okay, I think that was like very random. He said something like, it wasn't perfect German at all, but I think he said something like, der Vogel sitzt im Baum und singen. So like the bird is sitting in the tree and sings.
Ich fick dich auseinander, du knuffliges Knuddelbärchen.
Ich fick dich auseinander als Krudeberry.
Okay, so this was at a huge German late night show. Stefan Raab was actually one of the biggest German TV personalities there was. He retired a few years ago. Well, he's an old. He just decided not to be on TV anymore. And he gave Eminem a pretty weird sentence, kind of saying something like, I'm gonna fuck you apart. You cuddly cuddle bear, something like that, which he didn't really get that. Knuddeliges or knuffliges Knuddelbär, knuffliger, knuddeliger Knuddelbär, something like that. I'm not gonna go back now. But I did find a lot of other clips on the internet too where Eminem speaks German and they're all pretty explicit, so yeah. And now last up we got Justin Bieber, back in the day.
You got a lot of German fans. Do you know
That German TV channel
I know how to say
doesn't even exist anymore.
Dankeschön. Dankeschön.
They're all freaking out.
Yes. What about, can you say, ich mag deutsche Mädchen? Ich mag deutsche Mädchen.
That's actually pretty good. It means I like German girls. It's kind of mean that she doesn't even tell him what it means.
Da drehen sie durch. Okay, you can say, ich will eine deutsche Freundin. Ich will eine deutsche Freundin. Yeah!
I felt like she said that kind of weird even. It sounded like she had an accent when she said it. Ich will eine deutsche Freundin means I want a German girlfriend, which again kind of mean because she kind of tricked him, but the audience liked it. And that was the last clip. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. In the last video, so the one from a year ago, I also reacted to Sandra Bullock speaking German, for example, Kirsten Dunst, Sarah Chalk from Scrubs, Donna Summer, Keanu Reeves, Robert De Niro, and many more, so definitely check that one out as well. And of course, make sure that you subscribe to my channel for free if you enjoy my content. Share your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. And if you want to support me and my channel, you can just hit the super thanks button underneath this video. You can become a patron on patreon.com, or you can buy me a drink on buymeacoffee.com. In case you're interested in these kinds of videos but have already seen both of these celebrity videos now, I'm gonna link the video in the end card where I reacted to German scenes in Hollywood movies, so you can just click on that if you haven't seen that one yet. And with that, thank you guys so much for watching and I hope I'll see you next time. Tschüss!